down a half a block and across and up the other side, where I could cut across the cemetery. Then began to think, but he said, you know, I wasn't very good to Rafferty, and you know, O'Mara, I fought with them, but they're dead, they're buried in there. They were mad at me. And he's talking away to himself about all that was mad at him, but he decided, oh, he'd crossed the cemetery anyhow. Somebody'd have him. So we went across, and when he got a little ways over, he fell into a grave that was open for somebody that was going to be buried the next day. And it was a very warm night, and he had plenty of liquor inside him, and he just lay down. It was a nice cool grave, nice cool place, and he lay down and fell asleep. And he didn't wake up till daybreak in the morning. And finally he woke up, and he didn't know where he was or how he got there. He stood up in the grave, and all he could see was tombstones all around him. And he didn't know what to say, where he was. And he says, my, oh my, what is this anyhow? Where am I? And he looked around a little bit, and he says, I got it. This must be Resurrection Day, and I'm the first one up. We had a lot of them. We had a lot of them. A lot of fun. We always could have a lot of fun with drugs, with a drum.
Why don't you come and talk about it?
An old lady smoking a pipe. Old lady smoking a pipe.
Didn't you one night have to go out and pick out your husband from a crowd of fellas?
Oh, that was here in this county.
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Somebody, hold on just a minute. It's for somebody.
Tell
for
us
you,
about,
I guess.
Tell us about.
Well, anyway, my husband wasn't very much to go out at night anywhere. He always wanted to be home with the family and everything like that. And he never drank. He did, like Saturday night he'd have a highball or something, maybe once in a while a glass of beer, but he never was anybody to go out to a tavern. I never remember him going out to a tavern and buying drinks or sitting there. But anyhow, he was nearly always be home. But this night, he was a precinct captain, a man who took care of got the voters out in the precinct. And this night there was a bachelor, I think it was, and they were having a party for him. And it was all men. There was no women supposed to be there. And they asked him to go, and he said, well, he didn't care to go, and he wouldn't have gone, only that he was dependent on these men that were asking him to come out. He was dependent on them to come out on election day and vote. So he decided he better go. So he says to me, they want me to go, and I really feel that I should go for a while. I'd rather stay home, but I ought to go for a while. And I said, well, you go ahead. I said, never mind. So it was Saturday night. Kids were all small, and they always had a bath and everything before they went to bed. Who's that coming? That's Kathleen. So I gave the kids their bath, and I had them all ready for bed, and that's Kathleen. Better let her in. She's on the phone talking to somebody.
Keep talking. Keep telling the story.
Talking to somebody.
Keep telling the story.
Kathleen is coming in, and Kathleen goes to school, and she's coming in. Then she'll have to have a cup of tea, of course, and maybe a piece of cake or something, you know. But she's a real nice girl, and she's very sweet. Coming home now from school, a great big bag of books, a lot of learning to do, a lot of studying to do, and I'm talking away to myself like a dog.
So tell us about Steve.
So anyway, he said, my husband said, I think I'll go for a little while, but I won't be long. And I said, well, that's all right, go ahead. So it got to be 10 o'clock, and so I gave the kids all a bath and put them to bed, and there was no sign of him coming. And I thought, well, they men will get together talking, and they probably won't come home till sometime in the morning, so I think I'll get ready for bed. And I just had my shoes off when I heard this commotion outside the door. And I got up and looked out the window, and I saw them. Here they were. There was 5 or 6 of them, and they were in a huddle, and they were acting like they were trying to decide on something. And one would say, you go, you do it, you do it. No, I want to. No, listen, you go. You're a good scout, you do it. No. But one man, anyhow, was real brave and buttoned up his coat, and he come up the stairs and rang the bell. And I said, who is it? Mrs. Harry? Yes. Well, will you please come down here and pick out your husband? We don't know which one of us is him. Oh, and so, well, then he came up and he came indoors, and I said, did you have too much to drink? And how did you know to get home? Well, I was with the men. What did you have to drink? Well, I didn't have much to drink, but see, then somebody come along with a glass of beer, and I mixed the drinks, and that's what did it. So he went to bed. So the next morning, he didn't know much about how he got home, and he would ask a couple of questions, and I wouldn't tell him.
What's the first job Steve had when he came over here from Ireland?
He was a bookkeeper for the foresters.
Then did he work in a quarry?
Oh, that was away in the late years, just
Oh.
before he died, after Pete got elected. No, he always had good jobs. He went to school till he was, I think, 23 or 4. He was well educated. He was educated over in Spain and France. He studied for a few years to be a priest, and then he decided he didn't want that. That wasn't lively enough. So then he got to be bookkeeper for this Catholic Order of Foresters, and that was a big job. It was a good job. And then I don't know what he did.
How did he get to be priest and captain?
Well, that was long after we were married, and they needed somebody. That the ward was divided up in precincts. Let's take a checkerboard, for instance, and there was one. The ward was like the one big checkerboard, and then all these squares were precincts, and there was a man in charge of each precinct, and it was his job on election day to get to it. Well, way before the election, he had to go around and see these people and talk to them and bring them out to vote, and then the ward committee man give them a good job, a good city job. So he'd have to go in and see all these men and talk to them and bring them out and get them registered, and then on election day bring them out to vote and everything like that. It was only like once every 2 years or so, but while it lasted, it was a hard enough job, because you'd have to go in and out, and some days they'd be home and some days they wouldn't. You'd have to go back, and then the day of election they'd be sick, or they need somebody to take them to the polling place. Or
I guess he met a lot of crazy people when he was a priest and captain.
oh yeah.
Remember any of some of the funny stories that happened while he was a priest and captain?
Oh, I can't remember all it.
Weren't there 2 sisters or 2 twin sisters?
Oh yeah, 2 old ladies. There was another one. The precinct captain would have to give them an okay to get a job. Anyone that was out of work and they wanted to get a job with the city or that, the precinct captain would have to okay them. And if they weren't registered voters and good Democrats, the ward committee man wouldn't give them a job. So they would all try to come out that needed work, but there was plenty of work in them days. So anyway, there was one lady used to come around, and she had her hair was always done up so beautiful, and she wanted him to put her on the list for a job. She was a masseuse, and she wanted to put her on the list for a job. And she'd come over, and sometimes she'd bring a loaf of wheat bread, and she'd say, this is for Steve, he ought to be eating wheat bread and all this. And so the hair was also, I said to him one day, in them days, you never heard of anybody wearing a wig, not at all. So one day I said to him, that lady must spend half of her time doing her hair. It's always so beautiful, never a hair out of place. So, but she'd keep after, now Steve, you'll turn my name in now, and you'll have me to get, I'll come out and vote, and I'll bring all my friends out and all this. So, but she was a masseuse, and every once in a while, when he didn't want to do things very much, he'd say, I have arthritis in my knee, and it's so bad tonight, and I have to go out to the precinct, I should be home. So this night she was coming from someplace, and he was coming from being out canvassing, and they were coming meeting each other. She met him, and she says, are you that lame? He put on the act to make her think that he was, so bad that he had to go out and get all these people out, and that they should take pity on him and come out because of his bad knee. She says, is your knee that bad? And he says, yeah, oh yeah. Well, when you get all through with your canvassing, she says, drop into my apartment and I'll give you a treatment, a massage, and that'll help you. That'll help the circulation. That'll help you. Well, he didn't want to go, but he didn't want to lose her vote either. He didn't want her to get married. So yeah, then she had one nice little room, nicely, beautifully furnished, and right underneath the mirror or something was a great big easy chair. So around this easy chair was all little knickknacks like Chinese jingle bells that when the wind blows they hit together and jingle and a lot of these little things. And bird cages, little artificial bird cages with birds in them sitting up on it, everything nice. So she sat him down in this great big chair, and she started massaging his knee, and she started telling him about the mean instructor that she had when she was in training. This mean instructor, he just couldn't be nice. He just couldn't be nice. And she says she had her head down and she was massaging his knee, and she lifted her head to tell him something, and a hook off the bird cage caught in her hair, and it was a wig, and it lifted it right up off her head. And there she stood right up in front of him. He said she was like a hard-boiled egg peel, not a hair on her head. Started to scare the life out of me. So she went to explain to him that she lost her hair from shock, which you can do. And when the wig went up, she said, Mr. Kelly, that was shock. And he says, "You're downright the biggest shock I ever got. Let me out here." And oh yeah, then another time he sat down in one of these big chairs. There was two old men, and they had an old place, and he went in to call on them, and invited him in, and they sat him down, and he sat down in the chair, and he knew that he sat very low. So when he tried to get up, it was awful hard to get out of the chair. But there was a little shelf across the way with some knickknacks on it, and he reached over and grabbed a hold of this shelf to help himself up, and his shelf fell down on the floor. Oh dear! Then these two old ladies moved into the precinct. And oh, he knew them. They were in the parish for the longest time, and everybody knew them. They'd be at all the weddings and at all the funerals and every place. And they were real old, and one of them hadn't a tooth in her head. And they dressed so funny, gym shoes with the heels all run over on them and everything. So, but they were nice old souls, but they were two good Democrats, and he knew that. So they moved into his precinct, and he used to feel sorry for them. And he'd say, "How is my girlfriends today? How is my girlfriends today?" He says, "I don't think anybody in her life ever called them their girlfriend. I think I was the first one ever called them girlfriends." So anyway, all you'd go up their head and tell them how great they were and how grand they were. And he knew they would come out and vote for him. He had 10 kids and they're 12, and if he didn't carry his precinct, he wouldn't have his job. And he knew they'd come out and all this. And that many kids, yeah. This week it'll be 10 kids, and next week it'll be 12, or maybe 13. They thought he was such a great man. So, anyway, a neighbour woman, a very nice neighbour woman, said to him one day, she says, "Now, Steve, I know that you mean well and everything, but don't get in too far with those two old dames, because, they'll go over and they'll pester the daylights out of Mrs. Kelly, and they'll wind up by asking her for money to go downtown, for car fare to go downtown. So be friendly and nice, but don't let them get in on you." But they were already halfway in anyway, the way he was talking to them. So anyway, finally one of them says one day, "Does Mrs. Oh, you have 10 or 12 kids out again."
Go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll keep
Well, you better get another.
That's all right. It's just a story. Go ahead.
Does Mrs. Kelly have any help? Does she have any help with them kids? No help to get. No help to take care of the kids? No, nobody but herself. Oh, she must be a wonderful woman. Oh, we have to see her. We have to see her someday. And I don't know whether he told them to come and see me or not, but this Mrs. After what Mrs. Tierney told him about not inviting him in or not inviting him in, one day they met him on the street and said, "Mr. Kelly, you know what we've decided to do? We're going over to see Mrs. Kelly. We just want to see that wonderful woman that's doing all that work and has nobody to help her. And she must be a great woman, all that family." And he says, "Well, I'll tell you, girls," he says, "I wouldn't want you to come unless I was there. I wouldn't want you to come unless I was home." "Why?" "Well, while my wife is a nice woman and all that, yet she has got some peculiar ways too when there's somebody that she doesn't know. Now, the other day she was washing off the porch, and this never happened. And somebody from the sidewalk come up to tell her a different way to do it that wouldn't cause her near as much work. And she got angry because she didn't know the party. She got angry and she threw the bucket of suds and everything down the stairs, and she chased the cat up on the tree, and I had to call the fireman to get the cat down out of the tree. Now that's it. I wouldn't want her, if you rang the bell and she didn't know you, I wouldn't want her to slam the door, and my girlfriends, no, I wouldn't want that. So you better wait till someday I'm home." So that fared very well. They agreed to do that. But about a week later, there was a man, one of our neighbours, died, and they didn't have the wakes in the funeral homes like they have now. And so the man was waked in his home, down about half a mile from where we live. And it was a beautiful summer afternoon, or early evening rather, and he and I went to the wake. And as we came towards the home of the dead, there was a group of people, a whole group of people standing out on the sidewalk talking. There were no telephones, and when they'd meet, they'd talk about the different things and that. And who was in the group but the two old ladies? And he said to me, "Oh, I don't want them to see you. I don't want them to know you. You better wait, stay back there a little bit until we get in, and you can come in after me." So I said, I stayed outside the window shopping and that, till I saw them going up the stairs. And each one of them took an hour going up the stairs. He was between the two of them. So when I thought they were inside and seated, I went in myself. And there was a lady sitting beside the door that I knew, a Mrs. O'Connell, and I sat down beside her. And they were going around with him by the arm, introducing them to all the people that they knew in the funeral home. And they'd say, "Oh, the Kelly, or Pete the Captain," and they hadn't a tooth in their head. "And he's such a wonderful man, and he calls us his girl prince. He calls us his girl prince." Well, I didn't know anything about this episode of chasing the cat up on the tree. Not a thing did I know about it. So, one woman got up, Mr. Kelly, I'm so glad to meet you. And such a wonderful man and your wonderful family, and all they went on and went on about what a wonderful man he was. And one of these old James piped up and she says, yeah, but isn't it a shame? Isn't it a dirty shame? A wonderful man like this always gets such a barge of a wife. You know what she did? And they started rehearsing this about me not knowing the party that told me how to do the porch, and I threw the bucket of suds down the stairs and I chased the cat up on the tree, and he had to call the fireman to get the cat out of the tree. And Mrs. O'Connell says to me, are they talking about you? Well, I said, they can't be talking about me because we don't have any cat. So when we come out, I said, no, they're walking home, I said to him, what's that story about me scrubbing the porch and chasing the cat up on the tree and you having to call the fireman? When a great big bully you call the fireman to get the cat down on the tree? You wouldn't do that. You'd let the cat stay there. Well, I had to tell them something, didn't I? I said, well, whenever you tell anybody anything like that again, be sure and tell me that you did it so I'll know what people's talking about. Oh, I can't think of half the things happen. Who's that?
He's calling Patsy in here.
Who is she talking to? Who? Who is she talking to?
Noni.
Who?
Noni.
Bad.
Should be in
Worse
here
than
in a
that.
minute.
Worse than bad. She should have been
Is
here
this being
Sunday.
taped?
Do you want to say something to Grandma?
Oh yeah, did you have a good day at school?
Come and talk to Grandma.
Yeah.
What do you do at school?
Learn.
What do you do? Play pennies or something? Did you come home on the bus?
Yep.
Or do you walk home?
Came on the bus.
Come home on the bus. We were by your place yesterday.
Mhm.
Twice. We went by it going up, we went by it coming back. But we didn't see anybody out playing.
I'll be right back.
And we thought maybe they give you a couple hours off to go to sleep. Didn't see anybody out playing. And yeah. When are you going to get the haircut? It's getting very heavy.
Hello.
And
How
so-
are you?
Where's the twins? Did you have the twins home with you?
Hello,
Hey,
Jan.
you have the twins home with you.
Yeah.
She's
Oh.
trying to fill up the thing, you know, the
Uh-huh.
thing is going.
Oh, the
And John just
audio
won't
tape
talk.
recorder.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, Jan,
So I
you
saw,
were
I
on,
saw Kathleen come in, didn't I?
we're on videotape. Kathleen came in, right? Colleen is out babysitting
Yeah.
right now. And
Where's Michael?
Michael.
Oh, he's playing ball out in the alley
Michael
with,
is
with a
speaking.
pair of red pants on. Michael?
Michael is speaking.
Oh,
Mhm.
and where's Patrick? Did he go back to his
Patrick
bed?
is, no, he's out playing with Bridget.
Oh, did Bridget come over?
Yeah, Bridget came over while we were taping here.
You know, I'm teaching today. I was teaching to say, there's no lady in the old country, and she had a son. She only had one son, and he was spoiled as all get out. But he was a good worker on the farm, you know.
Mhm.
But the thing they had to do on the farm was trash, and they had no machines. And to get the corn off, they'd have to use flails. And he would never want to trash with any good trasher because he was lazy. So we went down. I went down one day for him to come up to do some work for my mother, and he wasn't up yet. And his mother went in to call him. And Patrick, somebody here to see you. And then he came out and I said, my mother wanted to know if he could come up tomorrow and help us with, I don't know what it was, potatoes or something. Well, he didn't know. And then he looked out the window. He says, what day is it out? And how does it look? What kind of weather is it? I said, oh, it's very good weather. Aye. Well, who's going to be with me tomorrow thrashing? I says, Mickey Murphy. Oh, that was enough said. Well, I don't know, Ma. What do you think I should do? Well, God direct you, Patrick, you Vic. Sure you know yourself. Ah, well, I'd like to go, Ma, if I could. I says, well, my mother would like to get the work done. And she thought maybe you weren't working. No, I'm not working, but I don't know. What do you think, Ma? What do you think I should do? Well, Patrick, you think you know yourself? And I can't decide, Ma. What should I do? Ah, Patrick, you think, go back to your bed. Woo! Patrick, you think, go back. So I was learning him to say it, teaching him to say it himself. And he got it down fine. And he says, why should I go back to my bed? I said, because you're too sick to go to work. Well then what should I say? That I'm too sick? I says, can you say this all together? Patrick, you think, go back to your bed. You're too sick to work. Well, he got it said, and then he says, Grandma, Vic, go back to your bed. You're too sick to work. Oh. And what else what else did he say to me today? He says, "Are you sleeping home tonight? Or are you going out again?" I said, "No, I'm going out again." He says, "Where are you going?" I said, "I don't know where I'm going. Is there anything doing around here that's fun?" "No." He said, "There's no fun." And I said, "Don't you have any fun?" "I have fun." He said, "But I go with Bridget, but you can't come. You can't come with Bridget." Oh, he's a grand fella. And Michael, we saw Michael. I saw Danny. I don't believe I saw him. Oh yeah, we did see Michael early in the deal with red pants way up here. Red pants. Do you have to go back to school tomorrow?
Yep.
You do. Any parties coming up or anything?
Nope.
Soon be closing the school.
Yep.
We had
You'll be on vacation next week, won't you, Dan?
a Dane living at our house, and he'd come down to use the phone. He'd get a phone call, and he'd come down and it'd be, "Yep, nope, yep, nope." So the kids all would call him, "Yep, nope, yep, nope." And he come down one day to use his phone, and they all said, "Here comes, yep, nope, yep." Then he changed that to, "Yep, yep, yep, yep." Do you remember Matt Ferguson?
Yeah. Do you want to ask her anything else about the old country? or-
Well, how far did we get?
We went all through the,
Well, I think we'd like to know the names of your brothers. First of all, the order in which they appeared. Phil was the oldest of the family, and then came.
Born in 1892.
Mm-hmm.
I was the next. I was born in 1894. John was born in 1896. Essie in 1898. And Arthur in 1903. There was one day between. Paul died. Arthur was born in 1903. Wait, in 1900. That's right, because my father died in 1903, and he was just 3 years old.
So Paul was born in 1899 then?
He was born right after Essie,
Uh-huh.
and he died.
And then at birth did he die?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So you had 3 brothers and 1 sister?
Yeah.
And then the 1 brother who died?
Yeah.
And your mother's name was Bridget Black, and your
Right.
father was...
But she was a white woman.
Oh, okay. All
Her
right.
name was Bridget Black, but
Then
she was a white woman.
did you-
There was no black
Could
people
you
in them
go
days.
back any further than your mother? Did you know your grandmother?
Oh, my grandma Black. That if that woman is not in heaven, there's nobody up there.
And what was her name?
Rose Mallon.
Rose Mallon?
She married Larry Black.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and she was one of the sweetest, very lovely, beautiful woman.
Did she live by you?
Yeah, I lived about as far as from here to Bridget's.
And how old were you when she died?
Oh, I was, let's see, I was good age. And Alice was out here a year, I think. And Alice came out away. Pat was out here and she sold out her stuff and came out here. I must have been about 16 or 17 or more than that. Yeah.
And then what about your father's family?
Oh, my father had, I think he had 3 or 4 sisters. He had Lizzie and Maggie and Celia and Essie. He had 4 sisters. Essie died young, very young, 10 years old. She died. And Celia got married. That was Lily McGuinness's mother. She got married, a little country down. And Margaret came out to Boston and remained out here till she died. She died out here in Boston. And Celia, Margaret, and Essie. And the older one, Lizzie, came out here too, Mary. She was here when I came out. She was here in Chicago when I came out. Her family all grown up. And the boys, he had Patrick. Philip died very young. And I think Patrick. And then there was Paul. Paul got on the Dublin police force and went way up in the police force. My father stayed on the farm. And so that was, they weren't a big family.
Well, there must have been, how many boys were there then in your father's family? Several.
There was there was Arthur and Phil, Philip
And
and
Paul.
Patrick and Paul.
Mhm.
And I think it was 4.
Mhm.
4
And then
boys
Celia?
and 4 girls. 4 girls and 4
Oh,
boys.
well, that's, yeah,
Yeah.
that's nice, huh?
Yep.
So then you met Stephen Kelly in this country, in
Yeah.
America, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that something? He was living there not too far away from you, but you met him over.
No, it wasn't very far away, but
Mhm.
I knew the rest of the family. The boys, I didn't know the girls.
There was something rather unique about his family, wasn't there? His mother had lived in Ireland most all her life, but she died in this country.
Yeah.
And his father had come out here to work for many years, but he died back in Ireland.
Yeah.
What was that story? How did that
Well,
ever happen?
she would not live in America. She had a beautiful farm at home, and she had helpers that would help her, and she had, in them days, what they call a trap or a vehicle to take her in and out to town. And then she had a big farm too. She had a big farm, but she had plenty of farm help, and she had help with the house and everything. She was an only child, and they had money, and she had all this stuff. And he came out to America. He wanted to come out to America, and he came out here, and he was a very well-educated man. He was well-educated, and he got on the police force. And he worked his way up, and he got to be sergeant of police. The next thing he was superintendent of police. And he took out his Aunt Kate, and his mother. They were living at home in Ireland, and they always wanted to come out. And he thought they could have a better life out here. And Kate was a seamstress, and he took the two of them out, and Kate got a job at Mantle Brothers, I think, and she made big money. So when the old lady was just a spoiled old lady, going around moaning and groaning, and one day she'd want to go back, and the next day she wouldn't, and all this. But they stayed here, the two of them. And Mrs. Kelly never left Ireland. She stayed there. And then he got sick here in America. But he wasn't too long sick, but they were all watching him for a long time. They figured he wasn't hardly able to work, but he worked anyhow. But then he went home to Ireland, and the doctor told Aunt Kate when he was leaving, he says, I don't think he's ever coming back, and I hope he'll make it over there. But he was a very wise man. He gave a house. He gave a house to your daddy, and he gave a house to John, and he gave a house to Peter. The boys all got houses here in America, and so finally he went home, and he got sick. Just after he went home, he got sick, and he died. But then she had to live. She never lived here. She came out here several times, and thought that she could maybe manage to stay. And I think there was one time even he took a nice. Who come in? JP, is it? Where's the wee fella?
Excuse me, right there.
You want to turn this off or?
Continue with your story.
Well, she can turn it off till she comes out, can't she? And continue it with the story here. Wouldn't that do?
Yeah, I'll turn it off.
I mean, if you shut it, oh, do you have to shut that? Don't shut that off. But can't you shut the recorder off here?
Oh,
I don't know how to work that.
No, but I mean to say, if he shuts this off, does it shut that off too? No, oh, well, you might as well leave it on. Leave it on.
this doesn't shut that off.
Oh, well, you better. Well, where are we talking to? To this one?
And this one.
And both of them.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, they can get it off this after a while. He went home and he got very sick and he died shortly after. And then, of course, he was buried over in his homestead there, so he wanted to go to be buried at home in Ireland. And then they made it so that she would have to come here and live at least 3 months of the year before she could collect the pension. So she would come out here and she'd stay the 3 months and get her pension and go back home and come back next year again. But one of the years, the last year that she came out here, she got a blood clot in her leg. And I guess they didn't take care of it quick enough and she died. Went to her heart and she died out here. So they weren't going to go all this trouble of sending her home, so she was buried out here. Here comes Patrick, he's gone back to his bed.
Go,
So,
Grandma.
So, hey, Patrick,